So you don't really get a chance to talk to people at the folk clubs, and of course you listen to them and their songs and everything, and it just makes you curious about the person. Well, maybe it makes me curious because I'm nosy. Anyway, I'm definitely nosy when it comes to Lynne Reynolds because she's written so much, and I listen to the songs and I think, who's this about? So it gives me great pleasure. I'm going to introduce Lynne before I start talking about her. I'm pretty excited also. She's gone to sleep. I'm talking so much. She's faking her own death here in the background. Lynne is coming live from the Ivtech Media studio, so we've definitely got the technology going on today. Right, I'm going to shut up now. Ladies and gentlemen, the lovely, delightful, talented Lynne Reynolds. Hello, Lynne.
Hey.
Really?
Oh, has he stopped talking yet?
Yeah, I've only just stopped talking, exactly, yes.
I think Gary's asleep.
Yeah, that's all right.
Exactly. We're all talking now. We're all heckling from the green room.
Hello.
Good evening, Lynne. How are you?
Good evening. Well, I'm absolutely marvellous, thank you.
I'm gonna bump your audio up just a little bit. Hold on.
You?
I'm gonna bump you up a little bit. Excuse me.
Without asking?
Right. Yeah, I'm absolutely fine. And thank you very much for agreeing to be our second musical journey.
I didn't.
Well. Anyway, you didn't. I think it's called grabbing in the gypsy world, isn't it? When you've got no choice.
Yeah, that's right.
And anyway, one of the great things about lockdown for me has been I've got to know Lynne Reynolds really well. And we didn't really know each other at all beforehand, even though I'd been going to the club for 4 years. And I really had very little exposure to Tudor Lodge other than what I was hearing live. Well, since lockdown, I now have a nice big collection of Tudor Lodge albums, an amazing, I think they call it a catalogue. Is it a catalogue of albums? Is it? Yeah, your back catalogue. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. And I as I listen to it, I always want to know who it's about. Always want to know who it's about. So we're going to kick off with, I guess we'll treat it as a question, Lynne. Where did it all start? How old were you, and where did the whole music thing start?
Okay, well, I always liked music, and I was just saying to John here in the studio that from a very early age, I loved the Beatles, and my Uncle Alan, who is my mum's youngest brother, when I was very small, took me to see the musical film Help, and it remains my favourite feel-good movie to this day. I absolutely love it. But what happened then was about the age of 11, my parents bought me a guitar.
Yikes.
I know. And what they didn't know was that, because they really didn't know anything about guitars, so they bought me a Hofner or Hohner or however you say it, semi-acoustic with F-holes, the F-shaped holes.
Oh, yeah.
And it was really, really heavy, and I used to have to lug this thing around to junior school and then to my secondary school. Like
a big rock and roll guitar, like a Bill Haley type thing.
Rock and roll, yeah.
Yeah, big thing, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was the kind of guitar of the time, wasn't it? My dad's 55 guitar is a similar kind of thing, yeah.
It was second hand. I so wish I'd kept it, because now it might have been worth quite a lot of money.
To put to your guitar collection, of course, because you also have
yes.
a very good collection of guitars. So
well, one or two.
And first song, I mean, I guess you learn all sorts when you first begin playing at school, and I guess it's all pretty basic stuff. But your favourite song from when you were beginning, was there a full two song? Was there a
Well, I know you're going to find this hard to believe, but I wasn't all that popular at school.
But you have made up. You've been married 3 times, so you've definitely made up for it.
Now you're moving on a bit here. But no, I was a little bit shy, obviously, like I still am now. And but I used to take my guitar to school, and I used to actually sing even then. And I was discussing this with John, that I'm quite often better in front of an audience than I am in private. I just seem to get a bit of a boost. But anyway, and I used to play stuff in assembly, But there's one song that I'm remembered for, even now, by people I went to school with.
And which is?
Well, it's actually an instrumental.
Ah, okay. Will we know it?
Obviously, most of your listeners will be far too young to remember, but it's a classical piece of music called Andante in C major.
What?
Yes, I know. It's probably by Carulli or one of those, but it's better known as the theme tune to Tales of the Riverbank.
Ah, now I remember. Isn't that the little? No. Was it hamsters on
Hammy hamster?
In a little.
They stuck them on like a boat and floated them down this pretend river.
A speedboat thing.
Grass.
Yeah, but I think they were real hamsters on the programme, weren't they?
It was a real hamster, but it wasn't a real river.
Ah, I do remember the little speedboat with a hamster in it.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So my friend Barbara, who I went to school with, she lives quite close now out in Beach near Alton, and she still, every time I go there, she says, "Play Tales of the Riverbank."
Well, I think
I
we
still do.
I think we should hear. Well, I've certainly never heard you perform it, so I think we should kick off with the first song this evening.
Shall we?
I can't remember the fancy name for it, but Tales of the Riverbank. Lynne, yes. Take it away.
Okay, here it goes. Right. That's the short version, which is good enough.
Yay! Fantastic.
It goes on and on.
How lovely. We should have done some imagery and had little hamsters on boats and things.
If only I'd have thought I'd have brought a couple of hamsters with me.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
Lovely. Well, I can't play anything like that, clearly. So lovely. And thank you for the applause in the green room and in the studio there. So, of course... your musical journey, when I look at these albums and I listen to them, and obviously you're sort of very well known for Tudor Lodge, and I'm going to be slightly naughty, but digging into the personal side of things as well, because I know you've been married 3 times. And what kind of makes me mention this is the fact that when you listen to all of these songs, and, in fairness, and bless him, John, unfortunately, who's no longer with us, none of this would have been possible without him. But I look at these songs and all of the lead vocals and most of the lyrics are written by yourself, and you can't write that amount of songs without a whole heap of emotion and experience going on. So, where does the journey then take us? Where did, joining a band, was it straight into Tudor Lodge?
Well, no, it wasn't. So basically, and we talked about this, and I said, well, I'll tell you the truth. So my childhood was a bit iffy. My mum and dad got divorced, and then my mum met somebody else, and they remarried, and they were very much in love. And unfortunately, he had a son already from a previous marriage. My mum had me and my brother, and we were just all in the way. So growing up, I felt quite unloved. We felt kind of pushed aside all the time, farmed out to different relatives. So I always had this kind of this romantic vision of what love probably was, because I never experienced it from my parents. I just watched the movies and read the books and thought that's what it all was. And playing the guitar actually at school made me popular, because my mates couldn't play. So that gave me a sense of belonging and feeling like I was worth something. When I got a bit older, sadly, the first boyfriend that I met, I decided was obviously the one, and I was 15.
I guess as they always are.
Yeah, and so I got pregnant. I was pregnant by 16, and I waited and didn't tell my parents, and so on and so forth. And so by the time they found out, it was a case of a shotgun wedding because they couldn't send me to get an abortion. And so I ended up in a marriage which actually turned out to be quite abusive and rather unhappy. So that there was still this, this ongoing feeling of what is love all about? Will I ever find it? So I think that gave me a lot of background to work on. But I didn't start writing actually until I met John and Lyndon. With Tudor Lodge, and I had a new boyfriend, and I'd been divorced and blah blah blah, and he inspired me to write a song which was Better All the Time, which was the first song I ever showed anybody else and performed in front of Tudor Lodge, and then we made it one of our songs.
And what year was this? When did you join Tudor Lodge?
It was very early on in 1980. And at the time, Lyndon Green was still with us. He lives in Japan now. So there were three of us. Okay. And there was lots of 3-part harmonies and lovely 3 different guitar parts. It was a very full sound.
Right, excellent. So we're at 1980, and you've joined Tudor Lodge. You've been married and divorced, and you've got a new boyfriend. And what song are you going to sing us? The first one?
He'd gone off to Germany to secure a job, and so I wrote this song called Better All the Time, which everyone knows, but I thought I can't miss it out because it is really my first song.
Lovely.
And I'm sure you know it, John. Joe.
What's
your name again?
Joe.
Joe, I'm sure you know it too.
Well,
it goes like this.
I shall mute myself and sing along. Right.
Mute.
All yours.
Hang on, that's a bit buzzy, right. Of course, I used to do this with John, so it's interesting on my own. 2 o'clock and I can't sleep. You're home tomorrow and you're on my mind. I can't help but love you. It gets better all the time. Been without you all this week. Left nothing here except this shell of mine. I can't help but love you. It gets better all the time. Why should I wait another day? Count the hours till tomorrow. You're cruel leaving me this way. Alone, no comfort for my sorrow. Why should I wait another day? Count the hours till tomorrow. You're cruel leaving me this way. Alone, no comfort for my sorrow. Come tomorrow, you'll be here. You and the key that holds this heart of mine. I can't help but love you. It gets better all the time. I can't help but love you. It gets better all the time.
Yeah.
I was having a conversation with John Ives earlier about the fact that I tend to speed up, and that's one of those songs. It's like by the end, you're like, "Oh my god!"
I thought it was a beautiful song, and for bless you, we got sneezing in the green room. Yeah, quiet, please. Let me just mute everybody if I can just do that. Lynne, a beautiful song, and of course, yes, I have heard it, but lovely to hear you singing it live. And as a first song, you must have been pretty proud of that. I mean, that were you worried that you wouldn't be able to follow? I mean, clearly you did follow it because you've created so many albums, but did you think, oh, am I peaking too early?
Well, I mean, I just thought it was a fluke, really. I mean, I can't actually remember what the next song was that I wrote, but I just thought it was a bit of a fluke that one seemed to be so well received by the lads in Tudor Lodge. And yeah, no, I was quite proud of it, and I'm still proud of it.
Yeah, fantastic. So we're in 1980. You've been married and divorced. You've got a new boyfriend. You've joined Tudor Lodge.
Yeah.
Where next?
Well, then I met somebody else, dumped the other one, lived in Germany with him for a little while, and then we split up. Then I met somebody else and married him. What I failed to mention, obviously, is I had the daughter, the first marriage with the daughter. So I met Lionel, who looked just like Dennis Waterman.
Oh, we're naming people now. I hope.
Yeah.
I hope
Dennis
we're not.
Waterman, when he was in. Do you remember Dennis Waterman when he was in Minder? He was just like him. So funny. Anyway, and we had a son, so we got married. So I was with him then, and for several years. And in the meantime, Lyndon left Tudor Lodge and decided to go off to Australia. And then to Tokyo, and it just left John and I. But a little bit later, we had a record company from Tokyo contact us and say, we like the first Tudor Lodge, and by that they meant the original Tudor Lodge album, which I wasn't on.
Right.
We'd like to make another one. Will you come out and do a tour? So John and I were invited to go out to Tokyo in 1999. It was 1999 by then.
Fabulous.
To do a tour and it was basically two big gigs, but we called it a tour because it sounded better.
You had to move from one to the other. That's a tour.
I know,
yeah, exactly.
exactly.
Well, and all the way to Japan. It's not as if it's even in Europe. I mean, that's a hell of a trip.
It was brilliant. And what was so great was when we got out there, in the CD stores, Tudor Lodge CDs were under, or the CDs that there were up to then were under rock and pop, and we could walk into a CD store and pick out one and say, "This is us," and then we get all the the adoration and the photographs. It was really fabulous. Fantastic. And I took my young son with me at the time as well, which was great fun. So he thought it was really cool. Amazing
experience.
Oh, it was. And to be, on a proper stage with the proper green room. And
don't be dissing the green room.
And the crew and all the lighting. It was just fantastic. And the Japanese are very appreciative. And it's funny, they sit there in total silence. And then they clap in a very polite way at the end to show their appreciation. But some of them had travelled the length and breadth of of Japan to come and see Tudor Lodge.
Fantastic. And what year was this?
This was 1999.
So where are we? This is 1980. So we're 19 years.
Yeah.
In.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And what? So what album? What album? What are you going to play next? And what album is it from? Can you remember them all?
Yeah. So the album so Talk had already come out, which we did, and then the album that the Japanese produced for us was Dream, and we did tracks from that, but we also did tracks from the very original Tudor Lodge album that I wasn't on, from 1969. So, because Tudor Lodge, started back in 1969. John was on tour with people like, oh my God, I can't remember. Oh, Ralph McTell, for instance. He was, he knew Ralph McTell, and the Year of the Cat. Who did the Year of the Cat, John? Al Stewart.
Al Stewart.
People like that. John was, he never talks about it, but he was on tour with people like that.
Fantastic. So what are you going to sing next?
So I was watching John very sweetly before he died. He made some videos into DVDs, and there's a DVD of our concerts in Tokyo, and also our MTV interview on MTV. It was so funny.
Fantastic.
With this Japanese guy and this interpreter, and us looking very young. And he made me a DVD. So, and I noticed that we did a song called "We'll Be All Right," which is one of my songs about yet another relationship that I'd fallen into, but between marriages.
So, I've never heard of this video. Are we going to get to see this at some point?
I'll let you see it. It's very bad quality.
It doesn't matter.
It's a video.
Yeah,
and it's been put on DVD.
Oh no! If you get us the DVD, we'll take sections of it and we should play it on FolkOclock. Yeah, for sure.
It's amazing. I look so young. And I'm up on this stage thinking, and I thought to myself, I'm probably shitting myself up there, but I'm looking like I'm having a great time. Really amazing. Mind you, I don't know what I'd had to drink beforehand.
Fantastic.
So this song, so in between marriages, I had a very long relationship with a man who was Italian. And most of the songs from Dream, Runaway, Unconditional and Stay are about this relationship.
Yikes. Does this person know?
Oh, yeah. And this one is one of them. It's called We'll Be All Right. Sometimes it seems no matter what, life still gets you down. I know you're scared of losing your life. You feel like a clown. I know there's times I feel within reach, but I'm really out of sight. Just hear what I say. At the end of the day, we'll be alright. I know you're torn by what's in your heart and what you might be. I know you're scared of losing your life and losing me. I know that there's times that I seem within reach, but I'm really out of sight. But hear what I say, at the end of the day, we'll be alright. I know that there's times that I seem within reach, but I'm really out of sight. Just hear what I say, at the end of the day, we'll be alright. Won't you hear what I say, at the end of the day, we'll be alright.
Yay!
I hope there was nobody listening who knows that song, because I forgot some of the words. That's okay, isn't it?
Lynn,
It's my song.
you wrote the song. Yeah, you wrote the song. You decide what the words are. Yeah,
Just make them up as they go along.
Yeah, I think most artists make the words up as they go along when they perform them live, don't they?
It's an interesting thing, though, Joe, because I've been playing for a lot of years, and one of the things that a lot of people do when they start out, and I know we've seen this at the club, is that if they make a mistake, they stop. And it's the worst thing you can ever do. It took me years to learn it, but if I started to think I'm going to forget the words, I now just think, what rhymes? I'll just sing anything. Nobody's going to notice. As long as you don't stop, they don't know you've made a mistake. But it takes a long time because nerves kick in.
And fair play to Eddie earlier, because Eddie forgot the words. He didn't stop, but he did say, "I've forgotten the bloody words."
Oh no, I missed that.
Yeah, no. So I shall play that back later.
Well, when you're nervous, it's really hard to carry on because sometimes that can make it worse. But if you can carry on, most people don't notice.
No,
I've
exactly.
done it so many times.
I think Russ fluffed the other week, and he was disappointed with himself. The reality is, hardly anyone ever notices, and the people who do notice are really pleased because they realise that you're just as human as everybody else.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, sorry, I'm chatting on, and
no, it's good. So we're at 1999. Are we? Second marriage in? Well, second marriage in 1999. Lionel. Yeah, Lionel. You mentioned Lionel.
In and out, I think.
And how many children at this point?
Only 2.
So 2.
I only ever had 2. I lost a baby, but in between the 2.
So two marriages so far, 2 children.
Yeah.
Have we got any grandchildren at this point?
Not at that point, no.
All right, okay. We'll come on to that. So, moving into the 2000s, where do we go next?
Well, I mean, John and I, we did a little mini tour in Italy. I can't remember exactly when that was, but that was really lovely. And actually, that's the only time I've ever seen Bob Dylan because he was playing. It was in a huge school auditorium thing,
right?
And our host who got us out there got us tickets to go and see Bob Dylan. And I just remember he was like really in the distance. And I was ever so disappointed because he just seemed to not be able to play the guitar. And this is going back a few years now. It was almost like he got old and he was really struggling.
Yikes.
And I was very disappointed. But then I've never been a huge Dylan fan, I have to say.
Well, I guess the important question that I've got is, did this same fella get tickets for Bob Dylan to come and see you? Because he would not have been disappointed. No. Yeah, he would not.
That was nice. Then also in the 2000s, we also got invited out to Nashville and we recorded 3 songs out there.
That was...
For a compilation album which had 3 different sets of artists on it. And that was a good experience too.
Is that an album I haven't got?
Yeah, it was. It's a long. You haven't got long enough for me to explain, but it was a long story. We ended up with only a couple of copies each. So
I've got 8 albums here. So there's 9 albums so far that I can count.
Yeah, there are 9 albums because there's It All Comes Back, which is a compilation of old Tudor Lodge stuff and a couple of tracks of John's and mine, which that was made back in about 83, I think.
Oh, but that makes it 10 because there's this little Christmas album as well.
Oh God, I don't know. Does it?
So
I don't know how many albums I've got. How would I know?
You know that 1 drink a week I have.
Yes,
it's now it's now cooling my foot down. But don't panic. It didn't go on my Tudor Lodge albums. Anyway, so 20 years in with Tudor Lodge, what's your 4th song going to be, and why?
Well, you told me it's not 20 years in, it's 40 years in, because
I mean at 2000
when we discussed this, Joe, you said that the next song would be the end of Tudor Lodge.
Yeah, exactly. So we're currently...
End of Tudor Lodge is 40 years. It would have been 40 years last year. The year that John died would have been 40 years.
Yeah. We were at 1999 and we're leading up to to the fourth song. No, I'm not. I'm You're correct.
So, there's so many songs. John and I wrote hundreds of, literally, and I've written, I guess, 100 songs. And so the only one I could think of was the title track of the album, Life Goes On, because John and I decided as he was dying that this would be a very appropriate title for the song, for the album, even though the song has got nothing to do with John at all. That's right. Life Goes On. So this was our last album, and this is one of the very few songs that has got nothing to do with anybody I've ever been in love with.
Well, and
it's just made up.
Sorry, and just before you do play Life Goes On the basis that you're not married now and I've known you since you made this album, where's husband number 3? There is a husband number 3, isn't there?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Lots of people know husband number 3.
So within that 20 years, there's a husband number 3, right?
Yeah, Chris and I had known each other since I was 17.
Right.
And we kind of got together. It was... Yes, actually, I was with Chris in the late... Yeah, when I went to Tokyo, I think I was with Chris. I forget.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm getting old. But... and he's a lovely guy, and he's a classical guitar player, and we used to play quite a lot of classical guitar together.
Right.
But I think, if I'm honest, I just don't kind of get the relationship thing. So probably I could say that now I'm happier than I've ever been, which obviously is partly down to Mike, who's very patient with me.
Fantastic.
And I'm focusing on music and all the other stuff.
I wasn't prying for details. I just wanted to get it on the timeline. That's all.
You know all the details.
I've quizzed you about this before. Yeah, fascination. Right. Let's have your fourth song. Life Goes On.
Life Goes On. The clock is ticking. The time is 3 a.m. as he sneaks in. You close your eyes. You don't want him to realize you know where he's been. He always takes a shower, never straight to bed. Leaves a damp place on the pillow where he lays his head. But life goes on. You think that he won't leave you if you look the other way. So you play a part so sweetly that he doesn't have to say that he's done. Life goes on. When you were younger, there was never any doubt he had your heart. Now you are older, it's much too late to question where it all fell apart. You've got used to the distance that you see behind his eyes. It's as if he's in the distance, in a bad disguise. But life goes on. You think that he won't leave you if you look the other way. So you play a part so sweetly that he doesn't have to say that he's done. Life goes on. The face that's in the mirror, it's a tired one. It's showing all the years that you felt this alone. Perhaps if you'd had children, he would not be gone. Is that what went wrong? Is that what went wrong? The clock is ticking. The time is 6 a.m. and he's not here. You open your eyes. There's a note beside the bed, but you pretend it's not there. You get up and make the coffee, and you put his breakfast on. As you lay his place as usual, you tell yourself he won't be long. But life goes on. You think he hasn't left you if you look the other way. So you play your part so sweetly, just like every other day. You're not done. Life goes on. You're not done. Life goes on.
Yay, beautiful.
Thank you.
Absolutely beautiful. Yeah. What a beautiful song, Lynne. And as you say, it's from the Life Goes On album, the final Tudor Lodge album. Yeah, a very sad thing to lose John.
Yes.
You know, especially after having sort of been with him for 40 years as sort of musical partners. Must have been.
In fact, you know, I mean, when you look at it, he's been my longest ever relationship. You know, that was it, John, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and you know, I guess not just sort of emotionally wrenching, losing somebody so close that you've known for so long and worked so closely with, but also, you know, as a musician, you know, and the yikes, you know, the person that was always there with you, no longer there, must have been or is a little bit daunting.
It's very strange, and you know, having just been in the studio to start recording new songs, lots of new songs, I must admit that was probably the hardest thing that I've had to do recently. It really felt odd without John with me.
Yeah, of course. After so many albums together, a difficult one. So clearly, I'm guessing there is an album that is coming, and we will get another album from Lynne Reynolds.
You will. There is an album coming, and I can tell you now, it will be called For John.
Ah, fantastic!
Because one of the songs on it will be the song For John, which you've played on the watch party.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a couple, at least 2 or 3 songs about John on there.
So, and just before I get into the next bit, grandchildren. There must be grandchildren by now.
Oh, loads. Oh, I'm inundated. Yes, I've got 5 grandchildren and 1 great-granddaughter. And today, everyone will be so proud because I had Emily and the boys for the last 2 days. And Emily is now 15 and as tall as me. And today I sat and watched her play guitar and sing songs.
Fantastic.
And I was in awe because she's really come on.
Fantastic.
Really come on. It's brilliant.
We need to get her back on the FolkOclock show. We need to get her on.
We do. She's just a chip off the old block. I can't tell you. She's exactly like me. She's not had any lessons. She's had a bit of guidance from me, but she's sitting, listening, working stuff out, printing off guitar tab, just the same as I did when I was a kid. It's fantastic.
Brilliant. So look, losing John, devastating, and then lockdown. Not only, that the whole thing has all happened at the same time, and like I say, I didn't really know you before. And one of the great things that's come out of lockdown is we've become really good friends, and I think you're fantastic. So it's so many positives have come out of it, and we've got to know so many other people in the process. But one of the things that strikes me is, on the basis that I was the guy playing them online, you created about 42 videos over a period of a year, of which there must have been at least a dozen of those songs that were new songs. And the ones that weren't your own new songs, you did a lot of covers that were out of the genre of folk. And I really, really liked them. And obviously, you're known for folk music and style, etc. Personally, I'd like to see some of the other stuff coming through as well, because I think some of the stuff that you covered, you hear a different Lynne, a different voice, a different sound, and also the guitar playing, some of the chords and things in some of the cover songs that you did. But I think they were fantastic, and I'm sure other people thought so as well. So clearly, the songwriting ability hasn't dried up, and there's obviously an album in the making.
But I think I said to you, Joe, that when I was with Tudor Lodge, you can't help it. When you're in that kind of situation, that becomes your genre, and you write for that genre and everything. And I always dreamed of sort of trying to sing other things. I was for a while in a pub band singing jailhouse rock and stuff like that, and I've done all that, and I really enjoyed it. But Tudor Lodge for me was really important. Of course, then John went off and did his John C stuff, so he had a chance to explore other avenues, but I never did. So although losing John has been a huge blow, I have had a chance to have a go, as you and all thanks to you, really, because I wouldn't have done otherwise, have a go at other things and other covers, as you said.
Yeah, sure.
And I've loved it. But I'm still tending to write in the same Tudor Lodge vein, but I'm hoping that gradually, as I move, I'll move on and I'll start to write in different ways as well.
Yeah, sure. I mean, with all negatives, always look for the positives. And for me, the big positive is it's almost like you've been freed, you've been released to sort of try new things.
Yes, agreed, yeah.
So look, we are sadly we're running out of time. And
get Mike up here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really, really pleased that you took time this evening to give us a little bit more of Lynne Reynolds, more than a couple of songs, because clearly in the folk clubs you end up being pretty limited unless it's a special night. So it's been great to share a bit of your journey and your life with everybody. 40 years of Tudor Lodge, 3 husbands, 2 children, 5 grandchildren, and a great grandchild, and 10 albums. Is it 10? Yeah, 10.
And I'm still only 42.
Exactly. It's amazing. It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. So what is your final song going to be?
Okay. I wanted to do something cheerful. It is a lockdown song, but not, a dire lockdown song. I have to say that I'm very, very proud of the lockdown song that was written with Steve Selwood.
Yeah, brilliant song.
I've already got the basics of that down at the recording studio now. But this is another one. It's called No Trains Out of London. It's nice and cheerful, and I'd like Mike to come and join me on this one.
Yeah, I think we're going to mess around with the camera slightly, and we're going to go right, Lynne. It's been delightful. What's your final song? And you've just told us what it is.
Trains Out of London, written in February.
Written in February 2021. This February, right?
This February, yeah.
Lovely, right, ladies and gentlemen. Lynne Reynolds, ably accompanied by Mike Baker. Guys, come in.
2, 3, 4. You're in your garden, singing Love Me Tender, or all alone. Been so long since I saw you. That's what you say when I call you wonderful. But you've lost count of all the times I say just one more thing and I'll be on my way. But when I knock upon your door, well, there's no trains out of London anymore. Always did like Elvis. He never did that much for me. Not really. You're not sure about my music. You never really say it, but I see. In common, we both know. But through the years I've seen our friendship grow. Just when I'd like to see you more, there are no trains out of London anymore. We all put off the things we ought to do. Wish I'd found more time to spend with you. It's been a while now. They say another month or more. Oh no. But I've had time to learn my lesson, and now I've got a plan for sure. The day they open up that track, you're gonna find me coming back, yeah. And then we'll laugh about before, when there were no trains out of London anymore. No trains out of London, no anymore. No trains out of London.
Yay.
Thank you, Joe.
Fantastic, Lynn. Are we gonna move this? Are we gonna move the camera across? Oh, I've lost you, Lynn. Let's have.
Oh, you lost me.
Yeah,
I'll
we're
lean
gonna.
this way.
We're gonna. Oh, we're back. We're back. Fantastic, Lynn. Absolutely fantastic, and a great uplifting song to finish on. What could I say other than thank you very much? A phenomenal catalogue of albums. What is it? 10 albums, 3 husbands, 2 children, la-di-da-di-da. Absolutely brilliant. And I'm chuffed to bits. There's another album in the making. So do make sure that you share it with us. Any closing comments other than shut up?
Yeah, it's about time you stop talking, Joe.
Yeah.
Bye.
Exactly. Thanks, Lynn. Thank you, Lynn, very much. We are going to go and we're going to say a few thank yous. Thanks, darling. Thanks very much.